First and foremost is I discussed a couple of different things here this evening. I want to start by giving credit where credit's due and paying the proper priorities. And I know it's representative of all of us here. It's been a long road and we've gone through a lot to get where we are here tonight, but we have to be very honest and know that we did not get here by ourselves. All of you in here have played an integral role in our lives in supporting us, especially for those of us with spouses, those of us with children, to have you backing us up during those times of frustration, perhaps when we came home from work and we really didn't feel like getting a project done, you were there. And so please know that as we celebrate this night and as we celebrate tomorrow evening, getting our certificates, that you have played just as big of a role as we have, and we thank you for that. I also want to thank, of course, the faculty. To be completely honest, at times, some of us may not have liked you a whole lot. I was not one of those. I always loved every last one of you, but I'm trying to be representative. You pushed us, you prodded us, you challenged us. It was not an easy path, but at the end of the road, what you've molded us into, we are happy to be here today and know that we have grown immensely as individuals, both in our personal and hopefully soon to be professional lives. So we thank you for your inspiration, your passion to the classes, and we thank you for the time you've given outside of the classes. Many of you have been willing to get an earful from us at different times on different issues at work and what we have going in our lives. So we just thank you so much for your support and all that you've done for us in this program. Next, I want to move on to a couple of things that I think we have all learned here. I was trying to put this together and frustrated. I'm like, what can I do to represent being a Massey graduate, an MBA, and for our Max there, and just toiling back and forth and thinking, okay, well maybe we'll talk strategy, strategic implementation, Porter's 5 forces, SOX key controls. I know that would make the Max happy over there. All wonderful things. However, I realized a key issue with that. These are all things that we're going to want to talk to you about on Christmas break. And I just could not take that from us. Being able to see the blank looks in your face as you search to go to the other room, it just would not be fair to take that from us all. So, amen. So instead, I brought up a little listing of some of the lesser known things that most of us have probably learned while in this program. It's actually a top 8 listing because being a Massey graduate, you don't go with the top 10. Be like David Letterman. We want to do something a little original here. So here's a listing of the lesser known facts of what we learned while we were here. And they are in no particular order. Number one, as most of you are aware here, especially my fellow students, we have some amazing security officials here. I'm not sure if they have, Marine backgrounds or what, but they're amazing, and they're so friendly. How they walk around quietly with the nice little smiles and give us the little tickets when we don't update our decals in time. It's wonderful. But for the most part, they really are friendly. But we have learned one interesting thing. If you're here on the weekends or here over holidays, if you're here past 10 o'clock at night, all of a sudden, these friendly, wonderful security officials sweep in to be some of the most ferocious, angry Marine individuals they've ever seen. And they kick you out of those classrooms before you can yell, "I helped to pay for your salary." So that was a big learning point. The next thing we learned, right next door to us, is the famed Curved Cafe, serviced by Sodexo. It's a place where, after a long day of working, coming to class, that we enjoy going to try to get a cold Chick-fil-A sandwich for $5 that was set out at 11 a.m. or a lackluster cup of coffee that tastes burned. We take pride in that. But we've learned one thing. The Curb Cafe and Sodexo, they hate grad students. And why do I say this? Well, because those summer nights, those summer evenings, we're not undergrads. We're here working hard, toiling, getting our education, bettering ourselves. And you know where they are? They're at home. They're closed. And we just beg, can we please waste our money here? Can we please pay $15 for a meal that should cost $1.50? And they don't accept it. So that's a big learning point for us all. The third thing we have realized, of course, you don't get this far without learning how to respect your elders, learning how to give that authority where authority is due. You know, we've learned we must develop good relationships with our professors, with our bosses. But another thing we've learned that is important as it is to develop good relationships with the professors, it's more important to develop a good relationship with Melissa Mitchell. That helps keep graduation plans on track. Next thing we've learned, you know, as professionals, is looking to get out and really be go-getters. You don't say no in your job description. You know, when you're confronted with something in the workplace and it's not necessarily something that you want to do, you just suck it up and you go do it. But we also learned there's one exception for that from finance. If it's capital budgeting, you immediately say, that's not in my job description. Next thing, we also learned these positive new building development announcements. We hear these from time to time, and they're framed so positively. Oh, the growth of Belmont, it's so wonderful. But we've learned to get depressed every time we see those, as we realize we're about to feel the hurt the next semester in the tuition hike. Another thing that we learned, and I can say number 6 because we are just PMBAs and Macs, so mum's the word. But AMBA is known as Accelerated MBA. PMBA, which many of us are, is known as Professional MBA. But we did learn during the course of this that AMBA actually stands for Amateur MBA through our workings with them. I'm sure many of the professors would quietly agree with that. The next thing, we've become very, very competent at looking like we were busy at work as really we're trying to work on and finish a project that's due in 2 hours. Secret there. If any of you happen to be employers, I'm sure that doesn't apply. And then number 8, finally number 8. I'm sure as many of you are aware, the year is 2012. And according to the famed Mayans that were so intelligent that they didn't see their own demise, we have about a week left before the Earth is scorched somehow. And I believe it's going to happen in accordance with the movie version with John Cusack. But being that, I think it's important to note that we are a historic class, the class of 2012. And it's good to know that y'all are going out on top with the best. So you're welcome, Massey and Belmont. On a little more serious note, I know that me and a lot of my fellow students, we have a lot of emotions here, a lot of memories. We're happy to be finished with this in a lot of regards, but I know we felt that we've learned and grown so much through this. I can think back personally on my time when I started here 2 years ago. I really didn't know what to expect. I was excited and also part of me dreaded because I knew that I was going to lose much of my free time and weekends weren't exactly going to be spent in the way I wanted. But as I become more immersed into the process, I began to feel myself changing, not just in the context of the X's and O's of the material we learned, but actually from a personal level. I just felt my thought process changing, my worldview expanding. Suddenly, I knew about 6 months in that this entire process was going to be worth it. And I know all of us share those similar thoughts, the similar traits, and I can see in many of you that I've known throughout this experience how much you've grown. So, in light of all the challenges that we have faced, I figure to keep us from getting bored, I'm going to challenge us to a couple more things here before we leave tonight. The first is a very simple challenge. It's to be understanding of the importance of this night, to not underplay it. For many of us, this will be the last educational venture of our lives. And so, as we took the initiative to come back and made the sacrifice, and our families made the sacrifice, let's really celebrate. Let's really understand the importance of this and think back on how that we've grown and value that. And then number two, which you'll probably hear a little bit later, we forged a lot of tight bonds and close relationships during this experience. And so let's make sure that as a group that we remain close as alumni. There's a lot of opportunities that may come across for different ones of us in the future. And let's make sure we're mindful of keeping each other involved and staying up to date and supporting one another. And especially if there could be a Steve Jobs or someone in the group, I really want you to stay in contact with me. For the third and final challenge, this one's a little bit more difficult. Now, let's face a reality, kind of the elephant in the room, as we sit in here tonight and we're excited. Along with that, a lot of us have anxiety in the back of our minds because we're wondering what is next. What's the next step from here? How do we go out and have such an amazing career that we can repay our families for all that we've done, that we can prove to ourselves that we're worthy of these titles? Many of us in this experience, I think, as much as we want to improve, as much as we want to go out there and take the world by storm, I think we run the risk of getting caught up in opportunities instead of actually chasing our own dreams, which is a scary thing if you think about it. All the things, all the hours we put in, the decision that we made to come back here and better ourselves, to go through all that only to end up just following the breadline. But it's scary. You know, there's a struggling economy out there. Many of us have families to support, mortgages to pay, a wonderful student loan payment probably coming in about 6 months. It's also easy just to play it safe. But you know what's even more terrifying? It's looking back in 40 years and knowing, yeah, I may have had a great career, but I never followed what was in my heart. I never gave the world what was truly in me. See, I believe that every single one of us in here has a specific purpose, something that we are uniquely qualified to do, something where our talents and our strengths actually merge with our aspirations and our dreams. And if we don't fill those roles, if we don't do that, we're letting our families, our communities, and the world as a whole down. So as we celebrate this accomplishment and we move towards the holidays in the coming weeks, let's make sure that we are doing what we feel in our hearts we are meant to do, that we are chasing our dreams. And if we're not, let's go pursue them. Because if there's one thing this experience should have taught us, it's that we're capable of achieving them. Thank you.